Welcome to the Smart Buddies Hub. The page is only for smart and successful people. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to be wise and successful, or at least don't want to be average or miserable. According to LinkedIn research, communication skills are the #1 most desired soft skill that employers want. In the book of How to Win Friends and Influence People, author Dale Carnegie states, about 15% of one's financial success is due to one's technical knowledge, and about 85% is due to skill in human engineering to personality and the ability to lead people. In the book of How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People, author Les Giblin wrote about a study reported by Dr. Albert Edward Wiggum in his syndicated column. Let's explore your mind. Out of 4,000 persons who lost their jobs in 1 year, only 10% or 400 lost out because they could not do the work. 90% or 3,600 of them lost out because they had not developed the personality for successfully dealing with other people.
But if you improve your communication skills, I will guarantee you that you'll earn 50% more money over your lifetime. And I said it's kind of beneath the business school to teach about speaking better, writing better, but that is what counts. And it isn't really some elaborate formula about options or something. And so I tell every one of them, I say, unless you really think you're good at this now, go out and improve your speaking and communication skills.
We can create a separate video by only like these suggestions. It's an important skill for everybody who wants to grow in their field. The people who have this skill will get more opportunities, enjoy happy relationships with people, and it helps them to expand their network and so on. You can develop and reach mastery level in this skill easily by practicing. There are 4 types of communication. Nonverbal. Body language such as gesture, facial expression, posture, and voice tonality. Verbal. Speaking format. Written. In a written format like typing and writing. Visual communication, like photography, art, advertising, and drawings. If you have been more curious to learn this skill and want to stick these concepts in your brain forever, do this exercise. Cross your arms, hold your earlobes, and take 10 squats in that position. This super brain yoga activates your both left and right brain through this neuron activity. Okay, stand up if you want to activate your important brain cells. Try to take just 10 squats. Go ahead. You can do this exercise whenever you want to remember a difficult theory, poems, and numbers, whatever. So it's a lot helpful for students. You can positively talk to yourself while doing this exercise in the morning. It will really make you a positive and confident person. Highly recommended. Clap yourself if you have done. Take a deep breath and enjoy the rest of the content of tips and techniques to become an amazing communicator. Okay, now let's dive into the main content. Body language is the key. Body language is an interesting subject for us. Next to psychology and neural linking, we will definitely create an amazing content in the future about body language in detail. You might hear this line: actions do speak louder than words. Yes, that's true. The construction work of a good conversation is built by 55% body language, 38% voice tone, and 7% words. Mastering the art of body language is the most significant thing to the actor and actresses, public speakers, politicians, and salespeople. Here are some body language tips to view you as a confident, attractive, and trustworthy person. Smile genuinely and slowly. A smile is an inexpensive way to improve your looks. A real smile makes a little bit eye close, fake smile don't. So notice who all are giving a fake or sarcastic smile to you. Make eye contact while you speaking, but don't watch like scaring them. Take eye breaks if you want. Watching their eye color is the best method to make eye contact. Speak in a good voice tone and pay attention to facial expressions. Research shows that the people who speak in a low-pitched voice tone are perceived as more confident and stylish. But speaking only in the same pitch will make it boring to the people around you. So use very pitch and voice tone which is suit best for the situation. Give a confident handshake. Before giving a handshake to an important person, wash your hands with warm water. Because warm hands tend them to believe you as a trustworthy person. That's why some smart business people does not handle cooling bottle in the right hand while enjoying a party. Use your hands to explain your idea, project, and data. Opening hands indicates I have nothing to hide. While walking, walk with purpose, swing your shoulders and arms, chin up and chest out, claim up more space. Don'ts. Avoid touching your face often. It indicates you hide something or not a trustworthy or less self-confident person. Don't cross your arms. This indicates you feel less secure, feeling shy, or lack confidence personality. Putting hands in pant pockets indicates feeling bored or feeling sad, anxious, and an introverted personality. Number 1. Listen sincerely. The first and main area in communication is listening. Best listeners are been the best communicators. You can't build a good convo if you don't know what your partner said. So we should more listen than we speak. That's the reason for God gave us one mouth and two ears. The meaning of listening is not about look at your conversational partner's face and playing the trending song in your subconscious mind, or try to judging their words. Observe their feelings while they speak. Try to understand their words and pay attention to their facial expression. Don't listen to reply, listen to understand. Leaning forward, nodding heads a little bit, and saying aha and I see, indicates you listen actively and understood that statement. So use this while they talk about a boring concept. Don't interrupt while they speak. Give them enough time to speak. Ask your questions and share your opinions about that when they finish or when they take a break to breathe. Moreover, if you listen carefully, you can get a lot of information about your conversational partner, such as how they think and behave, what things do they like, which do they dislike, how do they react, how do they see the world, and many things you may get. It might help you in the future. If every husband listens to their wife while they speak, we can lessen the divorce case rates. Number 2, ask and speak about them more. Everybody wants the feeling of being important and people love to talk about themselves. So, know about what they are interested in, which subjects and topics make them interesting to talk about. Social media these days helps you to know their interest, their passion, hobbies, and many other things. Which pages are they following on Instagram? Which hobbies they mentioned in their Facebook profile? You can get a lot of information about the person by researching their social media accounts, or ask the mutual friend to know about them. The best way to prepare questions to ask about them is by observing them like a detective. If a man living a happy and lovable relationship with his spouse, you can ask such as how you both guys are meeting. Who was the guy proposed first? If a person is happy all the time while working on their project, ask like when you joined in the company. Keep in mind, if they love a concept, they will love to talk about it. If you meet someone for the first time without knowing their details to speak, apply the give and take theory. If you give information, they will give the same information. If you introduce like,
"Hi, I'm Ferruccio, business owner of Lamborghini tractors and car manufacturer."
your partner might reply like,
"Nice to meet you, Ferruccio, I am Enzo Ferrari, founder of Ferrari sports car manufacturer."
Just like if you say where you come from, chances are they will say where they come from. Then build conversation around those things. Avoid giving opinions to sensitive topics like religion, political parties, and their personal beliefs about God. Number 3, take time to respond. After you listened, take time to prepare for what you want to say. Construct your phrases to speak clearly and stylishly. Cut unnecessary words, and cut out any verbal tactics in professional meeting. It becomes an easy process after it becomes one of your habits. Number 4, exchange the role. They feel tired if they only talking about themselves. And it's not a good idea to ask and speak only about your partner. They can get few minutes rest through listening your words. And also people interested in know about what's happening and going on other person's life. That's why the Instagram story, WhatsApp status, and Big Brother's TV show were created. So give information about yourself. Like talk about what you are interested in, what your hobbies are, where you came from. Number 5, ask open-ended questions. Avoid the yes or no question and one-word replying type questions. Like, asking someone are you married? 74% may the answer is yes or no. Another example is how many children you have. The answer would be in a single word. Ask open-ended questions. Like instead of asking are you married, ask how about your relationship status. Many answers might come for this question, and you give them a topic to talk them about. Instead of asking how many children you have, how are your kids and what do they do? This kind of asking questions makes to discuss each other. But be careful about asking questions. And before you ask a question, imagine and guess how they will feel or react after hearing this question. Because common sense is more important than knowledge. Do you ask such as how about your relationship? What is your spouse doing? Are you married or not? To someone who has been depressed about his recent divorce incident. No, right? So before you ask a question about them and their life, ask in your mind how it will impact them or how they will feel. Before you ask or tell about something, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary for me? Is it kind? And don't ask awkward and unnecessary questions, such as don't you have a job? So you are not married yet? Or why did not buy a house? And avoid these questions when meeting someone after a long time, unless they want to talk about it, asking their age and salary. Number 6. Avoid answering in short form, same as asking open-ended questions. Answer in a medium format, not too short and not too long. Instead of saying thank you for ABCD, Thanks for coming, thanks for the discussion with me even in your busy schedule. Thank you is enough for the little things they did, like serving coffee, open the car door. But if they did some important or valuable thing, or put some effort into that thing, say thank you with specifically for doing the thing. The same goes for sorry. Instead of saying sorry, say sorry for ABCD, like sorry for misunderstanding. Number 7, mirror their body language. People love the people who same like themselves. If both their interests are the same, they will have the best relationships. So you can make the person like you and respect you by mirroring their body language moves. But don't play like a kid. If they stand or sit in a posture, stand or sit like that posture after few seconds. If they walk like an alpha, walk with them with alpha moves. They should like you without knowing a proper reason for why. Number 8, understand human nature. Always remember these two things. These things can make or break the effective communication and relationship chain. 1. Everybody looks at everything only from their window. Here is a great example of Mr. Dale Carnegie for this concept, taken from the book of How to Win Friends and Influence People.
At one time I rented the grand ballroom of a certain New York hotel for 20 nights in each season in order to hold a series of lectures. At the beginning of one season, I was suddenly informed that I should have to pay almost 3 times as much rent as formerly. This news reached me after the tickets had been printed and distributed and all the announcements had been made. Naturally, I didn't want to pay the increase, but what was the use of talking to the hotel about what I wanted? They were only interested in what they wanted. So a couple of days later I went to see the manager. I was a bit shocked when I got your letter, I said, but I don't blame you at all. If I had been in your position, I should probably have written a similar letter myself. Your duty as the manager of the hotel is to make all the profit possible. If you don't do that, you will be fired, and you ought to be fired. Now, let's take a piece of paper and write down the advantages and the disadvantages that will accrue to you if you insist on this increase in rent. Then I took a letterhead and ran a line through the center and headed one column advantages and the other column disadvantages. I wrote down under the head advantages these words: ballroom free. Then I went on to say, you will have the advantage of having the ballroom free to rent for dances and conventions. That is a big advantage, for affairs like that will pay you much more than you can get for a series of lectures. If I tie your ballroom up for 20 nights during the course of the season, it is sure to mean a loss of some very profitable business to you. Now, let's consider the disadvantages. First, instead of increasing your income from me, you are going to decrease it. In fact, you are going to wipe it out, because I cannot pay the rent you are asking. I shall be forced to hold these lectures at some other place. There's another disadvantage to you also. These lectures attract crowds of educated and cultured people to your hotel. That is good advertising for you, isn't it? In fact, if you spent $5,000 advertising in the newspapers, you couldn't bring as many people to look at your hotel as I can bring by these lectures. That is worth a lot to a hotel, isn't it? As I talked, I wrote these 2 disadvantages under the proper heading and handed the sheet of paper to the manager, saying, I wish you would carefully consider both the advantages and disadvantages that are going to accrue to you, and then give me your final decision. I received a letter the next day informing me that my rent would be increased only 50% instead of 300%. Mind you, I got this reduction without saying a word about what I wanted. I talked all the time about what the other person wanted and how he could get it. Suppose I had done the human, natural thing. Suppose I had stormed into his office and said, what do you mean by raising my rent 300% when you know the tickets have been printed and the announcements made? 300%, ridiculous, absurd, I won't pay it. What would have happened then? An argument would have begun to steam and boil and sputter, and you know how arguments end. Even if I had convinced him that he was wrong, his pride would have made it difficult for him to back down and give in.
Self-respect is the basic need for humans, such as food, cloth, a place to live, and the internet facility. I observed this thing from my accountancy professor. She doesn't criticize or scold us in our classroom or in front of other students, even we did some naughty things or broke some rules. She only scolds, condemns, or criticizes a student in private, not in public. I think that's why she had a respectful reputation from the students' side. Don't criticize your employees in front of other employees. Don't scold your children in front of your relatives' kids. In short, praise publicly and criticize or condemn privately. Keep these 2 things in mind and act accordingly. Number 9. Attack with a compliment. Give crystal clear and true compliments. Compliment about specific or recent changes of the person. It might be their hair color, his tie, for losing some weight, or for having the reading or meditating habit, or for donating to charities. The more specific your compliments are, the higher the person will like you. If your kids do something good, like give food for birds or got a grade in math subject, compliment their effort and actions. If your mom or your spouse was prepared a special dinner for you, give some compliments about it. Moms usually do not expect compliments, but if you give, they feel happy and it increases the love in the family. If you want to criticize a person, compliment them before, but please don't give fake and common compliments and don't use the word of but. It causes the person to feel you gave fake compliments. Here is the example. Again, thank you, Mr. Dale Carnegie.
Many people begin their criticism with sincere praise followed by the word but and ending with a critical statement. For example, in trying to change a child's careless attitude towards studies, we might say, "We're really proud of you, Johnny, for raising your grades this term. But if you had worked harder on your algebra, the results would have been better." In this case, Johnny might feel encouraged until he heard the word but. He might then question the sincerity of the original praise. To him, the praise seemed only to be a contrived lead-in to a critical inference of failure. Credibility would be strained, and we probably would not achieve our objectives of changing Johnny's attitude toward his studies. This could be easily overcome by changing the word but to and. "We're really proud of you, Johnny, for raising your grades this term, and by continuing the same conscientious efforts next term, your algebra grade can be up with all the others." Now, Johnny would accept the praise because there was no follow-up of an inference of failure. Beginning with praise is like the dentist who begins his work with Novocaine. The patient still gets a drilling, but the Novocaine is pain.
Number 10. Have some sense of humor. The people who have a good sense of humor are enjoying high-quality and happy relationships with people. Do you love to talk with the person who has been rugged all the time? So know some jokes and have a bit of a sense of humor. Making some good jokes along with common sense will help you to engage in the long run. Don't make and don't laugh at the jokes based on someone's personality, about their skin color, their dental array, their body shape, religion, nationality, overall about themselves. 10 additional and important things to become an effective communicator and to build relationships. Call them by saying their names. A person's name is the most important word for them than the other words in the English language. But saying a person's name in a wrong vocalize would do the opposite. Remember the names of every new important person you meet for the first time. But don't say their name every time. Rare things are always costlier, and common or familiar things are always cheaper, so use it in a medium way. Don't give advice unless they ask. Because most of the people want attention, not advice. When you go to give advice to someone, make sure they are interested or not. Crossing arms and looking away or interrupting while speaking indicates they don't have an interest, or they are being busy thinking on about another plan. If you want to consider you, listen well to them. Ask a question about the last thing your partner said. If he says last came from California, ask about California. If your conversational partner last line said working as a sales clerk, ask which company you work for. It's called parroting method. Just ask a question about the last thing they said. Avoid arguments. Arguments are waste of time unless it's happening in the court. If someone asks a stupid question or asks a question to trigger you, just stay silent. The person who cannot control himself cannot control other people, so have some emotional intelligence. Don't be angry, anxious, or feel guilty about silly things. In argument, if you win, you do not only prove you are right, you are saying the opponent is wrong. Sometimes they might felt like a stupid, idiot, or asshole. You don't need to prove them wrong. It's not your duty, right? So don't waste your time and breathe in arguments. Remember, bees don't waste their time explaining to flies that honey is better than shit. If you definitely want to argue with someone in an important situation, don't raise your voice, and don't be angry while speaking. Shoot them with facts and information. Everyone is different, right? So we can't deal all people in the same way. Let's take an example. You were trying to build good communication with a person who lost his leg in a car accident. Majority of the people showing sympathy to that person. But some people love that people showing sympathy for them. And some people hate when they give fucking sympathy to them. One incident but two different concepts and perspectives. So no one will react exactly in the same way. So if you want to build happy relationships with human beings, you must know about their principles, beliefs, characteristics, and how they react in some situations. You can get this information by observing their actions, habits, words, and behaviors, such as how they react to things, which habits they have, which type of people they like. Yes, it needs some time, but Rome was not built in one day, right? Men usually don't love to share their problems by talking with others. So when men emotionally collapse, don't ask to know what's going on unless they said. So as a mom, sister, spouse, or girlfriend, don't ask many times about what problems happened or going on in his life. Ask 3 to 4 times. If they did not respond or say nothing, don't ask again about that. After they spend enough time with themselves, like spending time alone, or with nature or traveling, they will come up with more love, confidence, and enthusiasm. The opposite thing goes for women. Psychologically, a woman believes sharing our problems with someone through words helps to recharge energy and feel confident. So as a father, son, brother, husband, or boyfriend, ask about what the problem is going on in her life. Don't interrupt while they're speaking in high peak. Just hear her words and give some trusted or confident words in the end. Thank you Mr. John Gray for teaching this concept through your book of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Don't compare your surrounding people with anyone through words. Don't compare your elder son with your younger son. Don't compare your children with your neighbor's children. Don't compare you're a worker with be worker. Don't compare your dad with your rich friend's dad. When you comparing someone in front of them through words, they will really hate you at that moment. Ask for info. If you want to start a conversation with strangers, start with this concept. Take an example of, you has joined a new company and want to build a conversation with your coworker. Ask to know some information or to teach something, like can you please teach me how this software works? Or could you tell me where the HR room is located? The old fashions are asking what time is it now? When will the bus arrive? Offer help if you can, and ask for help when you need it. Don't be shy to ask for help. Relationships are built on giving and take. And don't give promises if you aren't sure about something. Master the art of pausing in communication. Effective and top salespeople and public speakers know pausing between points highlights their message, and it helps the audience to understand easily. So when you want to say an important message, just stay silent for 1 second before saying the main significant context. Speaking about the weather, discussing current news or new trending topics like movie trailers, football matches, politicians' tweets, and talk about something new on them like their new hairstyle or new pair of shoes is the best concept to start a conversation, or you can talk about those things when you both guys did not spark any new topics or concepts. Here are some phrases to substitute the common and old-fashioned phrases. There are plenty of videos on YouTube about it. You can watch them if you want to know more. Also, instead of saying, sorry for interrupting, say I would like to add. Instead of saying I am sorry for missing my targeted date, say thank you for be patience. Instead of saying sorry for coming up late, thanks for waiting for me. Instead of saying sorry for an act like that at that moment, say thank you for accepting me for who I am. These types of saying will help you not to view as a negative person to another person's eye. Exercises to mastery in communication. Increase your vocabulary if you want to master this skill. In addition, emotional intelligence is significant, so learn that if you have not. Reading books and hearing audiobooks will help you to increase your vocabulary. We are also traveling in the path of increasing vocabulary. Read about an emotional intelligence book like E-Myth, and meditate whenever you can, helps you to bring the emotional intelligence skill. I hope you learned a skill today in theoretical format. Communication is an easy skill and it is worth a lot. Every second you spent in this video is useless unless you implementing them in your life. So practice these things in upcoming days, and we love to hear how those works and not, so feel free to comment. Like this video to help us grow faster. Also, you give an order to YouTube algorithm to show content like this. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing. Change the bell icon to all if not yet, so you can consume every significant and valuable content in just one click. Thank you.